Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the first official meeting of the NAPW eChapter. I'm greeting you right here from my office in Garden City, New York. So this is actually just right where you live. You know how everybody says we want to network, but we want to network where you want us to network. So this is a great opportunity for us to spend some time together. Our test launch a couple weeks ago was a tremendous success, and we are really looking forward to the continued growth of our eChapter. I have to tell you, internally, we thought this virtual chapter was a fabulous idea. Okay, I'm giving some inside information, but we weren't quite sure if it would catch on, though. So you all really proved us wrong. We had over 750 members in a little over a week's time. And today, I am proud to announce that we have more than 2,250 members, and we're still growing. That growth is a true testament to our members and our ability to deliver on something that you've asked for many times, a new, convenient way to network. And that's not all. You shared new ideas on how we can make the eChapter even better, and to say I'm thrilled is an understatement. So I'm absolutely floored. I keep saying that by your response to the eChapter, and we're all looking forward to making the tweaks and enhancements that are going to make it an even greater success. So I want to thank you again for your support of this effort, and it has been nothing short of amazing. So we have a wonderful meeting planned for you today with a terrific panel of Women of Achievement, which you know is our theme this month. Louise Newsom, our National Director of Chapters, will introduce them all to you shortly. You're going to meet 3 fantastic VIP members in our VIP Spotlight segment. So let me just say, if you're looking for inspiration, you need to look no further than our very own panelists. They are each quite accomplished in their own right and serve as true examples of what you can achieve through hard work, dedication, and an absolute refusal to take no for an answer. And I can't wait to hear their success stories. But before I turn the meeting over to Louise, I want to remind you to participate in our polls throughout the meeting. That's one of the things that I enjoy the most. I really love this aspect of the meeting. It's interactive, and it gives us some real insight on our attendees and what you're looking for in this eChapter, because it belongs to you. We really want you to feel like the eChapter is your home away from your physical local chapter when your schedule won't allow you to attend a meeting. So kick up your feet, grab your favorite cup of coffee or tea, and settle in for what promises to be an absolutely great meeting. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce Louise Newsom, the president of our New York City chapter, and, of course, NAPW's National Director of Local Chapters. She and her team will spearhead our eChapter, and she will facilitate today's meeting. Louise, over to you.
Thank you, Star. Over the past months, we've seen some major additions to NAPW member benefits, the NAPW eChapter certainly being a big one. With over 2,000 members who have joined the eChapter over the past couple of weeks, this is certainly showing itself to be the fastest growing NAPW chapter to date. Our first 500 members who joined the eChapter have been recognized as inaugural members, with a badge honoring this status placed on their NAPW profile. Congratulations to those members. The eChapter enables all members of NAPW to be part of a networking community, especially for those who do not have a local chapter in their area. I welcome all the attendees, and I'm truly honored to be the facilitator of NAPW's National eChapter, our virtual online chapter for NAPW members only. I would like to introduce my colleague, Natalie Dougherty, NAPW Content Marketing Manager, who is our eChapter chat moderator and will be chatting along with you during the event and will host our attendee Q&A segment with our panel a little later. You will see the chat bar on the right side of your screen, and if you want to specifically ask a question today, please click the little arrow on the chat box icon where you can type and click Ask a Question. This will highlight questions for Natalie to see. Important, please state your full name and where you're joining us from when you ask your question. Please understand that we might not have time to go through all the questions today and appreciate your patience and understanding. You will also see several times during the event a poll pop up, as Star mentioned, on your screen. Please take a minute to answer the questions. Your feedback is important to us. Any technical difficulties during the call, please try to refresh first. If this does not work, log out and then log back in. If you're still having technical difficulties, you can reach out to the support team at www.webinar.jam/welcome/support.html. The agenda for our event today is that we will be showcasing 3 VIP member spotlights before we invite our Women of Achievement panelists on for a lively discussion. This will be followed by the attendee Q&A moderated by Natalie Dougherty. So, for our first spotlight, I would like to welcome our VIP member, Denise Hansard, life architect and professional speaker, author of Suffering in Comfort, and the Vice President of the Schaumburg Chapter, Illinois. Denise.
Hello, Louise, and thank you. You know, most of us know that fear is the #1 thing that stops us dead in our tracks. From getting that new position, that new promotion, or that next job. It could also be from stepping into your own business. Or it could be that having the love of your life in your life today, right at this moment, even if it's with the partner that you have today. Yes, fear is the one thing that stops us, and fear will always be with us. The one thing that we probably don't know is how fear shows up in our life. And the #1 way that it does show up today is through procrastination. You know, getting on Facebook, LinkedIn, or even doing the laundry when you have that daunting task in front of you. Hello everyone, I am Denise Hansard, and I am your life architect and professional speaker. I help you to build a very solid foundation, giving you the tools and techniques needed to get unstuck, to give you that support, to learn to discover your purpose, or even to get past your fear. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I have developed a 4-step process, you can see it kind of here, on how to tame your fear through roar. So get your pen and paper. You may want to jot down a few notes on this and learn how to tame your fear through roar. First is the R. You want to recognize that fear is just a state of being at this moment in your life. It does not define you forever. So recognize that fear is just now and recognize how it shows up for you. And the next step is the O. You want to open up to the feelings that you have, that you've been conditioned to feel in that moment of fear. It's usually debilitating. It's limiting thoughts. It's those trash talk Mondays that you have, which will lead you into the next step, which is the A, which is about accepting a new feeling, that which is empowering, that which is enriching for you. You want to be able to accept that new feeling. Just breathe into it because it's going to feel a little strange for you. Own it, claim it, make it yours. And the last and most critical step is the R, which is a double R. It's about releasing that old feeling and replacing it with a new feeling. So you release that old feeling of limiting beliefs. You replace it with more empowering beliefs. And what will definitely happen at the beginning, as you're doing this, is that old feeling is going to come up. You hit that pause button, you breathe into it, and you literally say, that used to be me. I am now. So that's your 4th step. It's recognize, open up, accept, release, and replace. So the question becomes, will you allow your fear to be your foe, stopping you and keeping you stuck? Or are you going to learn how to make fear your friend, to stepping into the unknown, into the beauty of it all? If you would like a copy of this process, just go to my website, DeniseHansard, HANSARD.com. Learn to tame your fear through roar. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Our next spotlight is a woman who grew up on an island in the north of Norway and was inspired by the Northern Lights to become the creator of a line of jewelry, Ellen Kavam Jewelry. Ellen, welcome.
Hi. Tromsø, where I have my relatives, is right under the midnight sun and the northern lights. Colors have, for me, always been the source of happiness and inspiration. Coming from Norway, having supplied up to 120 stores at one point throughout Scandinavia, with only luxury problems on my hands, like having the store managers write to me with orders instead of calling them in, I did not fully foresee the situation I would find myself in, having taken the big leap and moved my business over the big ocean to the United States. I wanted to sell my jewelry in a bigger market. The United States was a natural choice for me. As an artist and an entrepreneur in a startup situation in a foreign country, knowing 0 people, I have had a tough job for a long time. I realized that I took my network at home in Norway for granted, and now I am aware of the importance of a solid network group like NAPW. Definition of madness is to try to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. That was a quote from Albert Einstein. Becoming a VIP member in the NAPW, that has made the difference for me. For women in a business visa situation, I think a membership in the NAPW should be on the top of their what to do first list. It is mandatory, crucial. Luckily, the NAPW accepted me as a member after the application, after the interview. True to form, I went for the VIP membership at the very first get-go. Very, very, very happy about that decision. Thank you so much, Natalie D, for being such a fantastic sunbeam and for allowing me to hope for success enough to move forward full force and to make me see that together is how we can make our businesses flourish, and together is when we will be strong and prosper. And this is all going to happen in the great spirit of entrepreneurship, and I'm looking forward to sharing and networking in NAPW, and I aspire to contribute to the growth of the association, because all my beliefs is that this is working, and I am eternally grateful to you all. Thank you so very much. I would also like to show you what I did with this necklace. I have taken the VIP pin that I was given as a VIP member, and I put it into one of my necklaces, and this is interchangeable, so I can just take it out. So this is what I would wear in a business meeting, and then a little bit later when I'm going to a dinner party, then I take in one of my crystals, and then or I could produce something else. You know, I could have a star sign, or all the members of the NAPW could come up with ideas or have their company logo produced. On my new website that will be launching Monday, the NAPW members will have a spot on the top of my website where they can log in and have their own super special prizes. They have to log in at the top at the NAPW to have the special prizes, so please don't forget that. Thank you so very much, everybody.
Thank you, Ellen. I know that I'll be ordering one of those, and I'm sure Star will be as well. Last but not least, we have Marissa Stone, a PhD social media strategist and founder of Simon Says Social, as well as the NAPW Plano, Texas local chapter president. Marissa.
Thank you so much, Louise and Star. This is a wonderful opportunity. I'm super excited to be here. So my name is Dr. Marissa Stone. I am the Plano local chapter president, but I'm also the CEO of Simon Says Social, a fun new way to learn how to manage your online presence. And we all want to have our own voices heard online. We want our web presence to reflect the real us, right? And this applies to every aspect of our lives, from our businesses to our online presence to your presence within your local chapter. You know, we just aren't quite sure where to begin, and I get it. I want to start by sharing a quote with you. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." And I'm going to tell you guys a story that I don't often share with others. I shared this with the presidents not too long ago just to give them a sense of how much I truly do understand where you're coming from when you struggle with technology. My first introduction to the world of technology was an old 486 computer running Windows DOS. My dad was throwing it away and he said, do what you want with it. So I thought, okay, what better way to learn than with a DOS operating system, right? Yikes. My first reaction was, okay, there's no way, I can't do this. I was terrified to even touch it. I thought I was going to break it. I just knew that pressing any button was going to result in some sort of explosion. It was just going to be a total mess. I sat down at the computer for the first time and I timidly typed in a command and nothing happened. I was done. I was finished. I got up. I walked away thinking, I'm never going to use this. I'm never going to adopt technology. I'm finished. But that wasn't truly the end of my story. Each day I would get a little braver and I would try something new. Before long, I was creating and running entire spreadsheets that allowed me to manage my business. I was saving recipes and planning menus for my family. I had a contact list and an email client, all in DOS, right? I mean, who does that? This enabled me to connect with those who mattered most. More importantly, I was using the technology to make my life easier and more efficient. Fast forward to today, and that same philosophy still applies. Technology is just a set of tools. Similar to the tools that a carpenter uses to build a house, technology are the tools that we use to run our businesses easily and more efficiently. At Simon Says Social, we think outside the box. We show you new and different ways to use technology to work smarter, not harder. We believe in connectivity. We believe in engagement. We believe in community. We believe in knowledge acquisition and time management. We believe in systems, we believe in automation, and we believe in you. A fantastic web presence that showcases you and your company is all about systems and strategy. Your strategy is developed through SMART goals that are aligned with your business priorities. Your systems include everything from branding your web presence so that your audience knows where and how to find you, to managing that editorial calendar so that you can get things up and running so you don't have to babysit it, to scheduling these thematic posts so that the audience can follow along with your story. And that frees you up to do what you do best, which is actually talk to and engage with your audience. Believe it or not, this can all be put together in a few hours per month, not hours per day. At Simon Says Social, we specialize in teaching clients to use this technology in new and more efficient ways. And we help you to work smarter, not harder. But how does all this relate to NAPW? Many of our members in the Plano chapter and members that I've met in other chapters are also those self-starters. They're building their own businesses. They're burning that midnight oil to monetize these passions. And they're looking for ways to promote themselves in our increasingly mobile world. But that's not all. The role of presidents actually allowed me to understand that women do business differently. We just do. Right? As female business owner myself, I would rather work with other like-minded women that I know than someone I got off of a Google search engine because I didn't have any place to turn. NAPW offers me that place to turn. And as president of the Plano chapter, I choose to add value to the lives of other female professionals and entrepreneurs just like myself. And you guys can turn to your members as well. If you need something done, don't forget, pop in and post something on your wall and talk to other members and talk to your president and use this resource first, and I guarantee you, you will be amazed at what you will get back. One thing that I've learned in many years of presentations and speakings and trainings is that most professionals already know what you need to do. You already know what you want to do. You already know what you want your voice to sound like. So I'm not going to waste your time by telling you all those things you need to do. All you really need to know is how to do it. And the local Plano chapter membership has been asking for workshops on digital media. So Simon Says Social is soon going to be offering online courses to teach women how to accomplish their goals in designing their online presence that works for them. And the women of NAPW are going to be the first to know. The price? Free. All I ask from you is for feedback. I need feedback so that I can turn these courses into the best that they can possibly be. Walt Disney once said, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. You want to begin doing? Simon Says Social. Simon says, let's get started. And the very first course I'm offering is a Canva toolbox. It's a 7-day challenge. It's absolutely free. I've posted it on the Plano chapter wall. I've posted it on the eChapter wall. If you want to learn more about how to be your own graphics designer without having that graphics design degree and without being an expert in Photoshop or GIMP or one of those other programs that, you know, makes you have to be the expert, come jump on. Join us. Learn how to use this tool that can actually help you to promote yourself and your business better.
Thank you, Marissa, and to all our fabulous VIP spotlights today. September brings us Women of Achievement Month on the NAPW Foundation calendar, and we have invited today 3 aspirational VIP members in the field of entrepreneurship, business, finance, and technology to be part of a panel discussion and celebrate their achievements. I would like to introduce you to Zoe Sexton, a highly experienced financial services entrepreneur and managing director of wealth management and institutional services at Merriman Capital Incorporated. Her focus is on growing the division and meeting the need for women-centric wealth management services. Zoe brings 20 years of experience in financial services with a primary focus on serving women, multi-generational families, and business owners. Zoe is a single mother of 4 and lives in San Francisco, California. Our next panelist, Dr. Natalie Forrest, PhD, is founder of Success Revolutions and Revolutionize Your Potential, an international executive consultant, best-selling author, keynote speaker, and mentor who has created a series of educational trainings for individuals and corporations across the globe. Natalie is a sought-after speaker and has participated in numerous conferences, events, TV, and radio shows across the nation. Natalie lives in Maryland with her husband and daughter. Last but not least, Andrea Campanella Henrik, President of ACH Professional Services, whose current projects include launching an e-commerce initiative to sell an anti-aging line of products for Janus. Through this project, Andrea leveraged a new way of reaching clients through the use of technology and by creating a virtual sales team. Andrea has 13 years experience in global technology and global business services at IBM in Latin America before moving with her children to the United States in 2014. She recently became NAPW chapter president of the Morris County, New Jersey chapter. Welcome, ladies. Truly a pleasure to have you all at our eChapter event today. I'm going to ask you, ladies, if you can open up your cameras and unmute yourselves so we can see you live here on the screen. And then I can go to our Q&As. Hi, Andy.
How are ya?
Good. Natalie, can you...
Hi.
Hi, and Zoe, you're there too. Fabulous, fabulous. So welcome, ladies. So I'd like to open up our discussion with a question to all of you that gets straight to the point, really. What defines success for you at this stage of your career? So I'm going to ask Zoe to start answering this question first this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Louise. I have to say that I just everyone who's been on the panel so far, Denise, Ellen, Marissa, you guys all made me smile. I love entrepreneurialism, and just delighted to be able to share with you as well. So defining success, it's really a holistic, for me it's holistic. So I have to feel physically healthy, I have to feel inspired, I love engaging with new people, so I feel successful when I quantify things. So if it's not, I don't really feel like I'm having a business success unless it's being financially productive, cash positive, and getting results. So I'm a very results-oriented person, but on the other hand, I like to feel, healthy and do things that have balance. So my success is defined by having balance in my life, spending time with my children, friends, family, and contributing to my professional network.
Thank you, Zoe. Andrea, I'd like to invite you up next to give your thoughts on this.
Thank you. Hello, ladies. How are you? I hope you're well. This is my first meeting with you all as a new chapter president, so nice to meet you all. for me, success at this point of my life is more like, I agree with Zoe, but it's more also about getting to choose what makes you feel better. For me, being able to choose the initiatives I want to take on, and those initiatives have to make me feel happy, make me feel good about them. At this point, I wouldn't choose any initiative or any job or any project, but doesn't make me feel that way. So that's being successful, being able to make your own choices and not to have to do something because and you don't feel good about that.
Thank you, Andrea. Natalie, we don't have you up live. Can we get you on the camera and unmuted and hear your thoughts on
It
this?
should be on. It says my camera's
Oh,
on. There we are. Okay, there we are.
You're here. You can stay live
Okay.
for the whole chat.
Okay. So success to me, I think I agree with everybody who's already talked. And the image is a little weird. I think it's holistic, but I also think it's about choice. So I agree with everybody there. But I also think for me, it is about continuously pushing myself. By that I mean I always want to be innovative in one way or another. I want to be learning more and engaging myself as well as others. That to me is success, when I feel I've just learned something new. And of course, success also means how many people am I reaching? How many people can I actually serve? And that goes partially with the innovation, because if I feel like I've served one group, then I need to move over to another in a new, innovative and thought-provoking way. But of course, it is holistic, because if my home is not happy, then nobody's happy.
So true, so true. Zoe and Andrea, both of you come to the table with varied backgrounds in finance and technology. As women working in these specific fields, how important is it to you to be an influencer, an educator to other women and girls who have an interest in your field? Zoe, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you. It's very important, Louise. I feel like there's very few heroines or role models for girls. And I also feel like we live in an environment that makes assumptions about women. We have social stigmas that go along with everything, and they influence the behaviors and beliefs of girls and the people around them. So it creates sort of a vacuum. So to me, it's very important to get out educational content. I'm a writer at heart. I've been writing since 3rd grade. And so I try to communicate in as many ways as possible. So if I need to make a drawing, or, I make these cartoons. Anyway, in order to educate girls and women and young women about investing, different types of investment vehicles, different types of investment tools, the current environment around finance. It's my goal to shift the language around finance and investing, because I feel it's a very egocentric, competitive language, and it's kind of repelling to women in particular, but I've noticed it's actually non-gender specific. Most people don't identify with it, they tune it out. That's why they don't understand it that much, because it's not inviting. And it's kind of in a segregated, separate area. So my goal is to just try to, raise the bar for women and level the playing field all the way around.
Thank you, Zoe. I know that you and I have had conversations about this, and I completely agree. Andrea?
Yeah, of course I agree with Zoe, but in my experience, what you see in those fields is mostly men in leadership instead of women in leadership.
Right.
And it was a concern all over, specifically in Latin America, from where I come from. As you remember, at the time when Gina Rometty, the global CEO for IBM, went to Latin America, and she was surprised by the outnumbered women in leadership. She was like kind of forcing the leadership down there to empower more women to get to the really global, regional leadership positions. So it was hard. It was hard for me, but I guess that having your finish line well designed, knowing where you're going to, have your goals clear, established, and you just moving forward, it just sets a rule. It sets an example for the other women and girls coming after you. So I think that mentoring is a very interesting thing to do. I was a mentor in IBM for several years. I also believe that being confident in yourself shows also the fact that you can do it. Women can do it. Women, we were born multitasking. We're good listeners. We really can do it. I mean, there's no reason why we cannot do it. So just feeling confident, set the bar high, and we can do it.
I want to point out one little thing, if I might. It's sort of an epiphany that happened to me when I was in my 20s. I had mentioned to a male friend that I wanted to, get a new job, and I wanted to get this salary. I think I wanted, I don't know, $38,000 a year. And he goes, "Why would you say $38,000 a year? Do you think the people making $80,000 a year are working any harder than you are?"
Good point.
I mean, I just was like, what? No, of course they're not working harder. Are they really smarter? No, they're not really smarter. But it was weird. I was like traveling in this weird assumption. And so it was just a revelation. I really encourage women in particular to think about that. Really get your value.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, just on that point, I mean, I'm going to ask Zoe again and Natalie this question, how you've both navigated your paths to success and what techniques you've used along the way to achieve this. So maybe, Zoe, you'd like to start again since you're kind of trailing off that thought.
Yeah, I heard people go, "How do you do it?" And I said, I just keep getting up. I fall down a lot, and I keep getting up. But what I do is I try to go into situations and environments with my eyes open and my posture open to receiving opportunities. If you're not aware of opportunities, there's opportunities all over the place, but if you're not aware of them, you won't grab them as they fly by. And, an opportunity is, helping someone else succeed, because that will take you to a higher level yourself, is what I've found. Once I had someone tell me, "You can't afford to be entrepreneurial. You can't afford to be philanthropic." And I said, "I can afford to be philanthropic. I can't afford not to be philanthropic. That's part of what I have to do. I have to give. I have to serve, and I have to provide education and knowledge." And so, how I navigated is I kept learning new things, and I was teachable. My goal is to always be teachable. Mm-hmm. And that also tends to stimulate me as well. It keeps my mind more open and engaged and aware of what else is going on in the world, instead of getting sucked into a tunnel, because we can do that, particularly as women multitasking. We can get sucked into our routines of like taking care of our children, our families, and all of that, and not realizing that it's time to take the next step up to increase our salary or increase our earning potential. Because we are going to outlive men. 60 is the new 40, okay? I keep telling women that. It's like 60 is the new 40. You think you cannot build your own business just because you're, not employed right now, you're not making enough money. 20 years, you're going to live another 20, 30 years. You can start a business now, and you can succeed at it.
Never too late. That's right. So never too late. Natalie.
Well, I don't want to piggyback again, but I think you're absolutely right. And for me, I want to say I'm an educator by heart. So the hardest thing for me has always been to let go of the servant mentality and really ask for what I'm worth. And I think a lot of women actually have that issue, because what we're being taught is that we are servant, we're supposed to take care of everybody. So revolutionizing that thought of mindset, I think, was really crucial to me. And every now and then I still hit that little wall where I just want to give. And I love the way that you put it, philanthropic. I never thought about just calling it that. But I think being a servant and a teacher by heart has really made all the difference, because I've seen so many things. And then one thing that I really needed to navigate exactly to where I wanted to go, because there were so many options for me, because I am an influencer, especially wherever I go, people know that I'm also a connector. So it's really been finding a compass. I think that's the best way to put it. And the compass is what I have found in a mentor. and also in really looking at the way that I approach things. You mentioned there are opportunities and possibilities everywhere, and they are. And it's just a matter of how you look at it. So I look at it in two ways. Number one, I don't want to exist. Been there, done that. I actually want to live. And in order to live, I need to put myself out there and fully claim what my purpose is. Of course, it takes a little bit of practice to understand what your purpose is. And then once you're out there, you really need to figure out what your systems are to see the opportunities. And some you also just want to shut down immediately. I mean, we have to be honest about that too. But in general, I think the right mentor who really gets you and helps you get out of that complete servant mentality and ask for what you're worth is definitely key, while balancing all those other aspects of why we're here and what our purpose is.
Thank you. As we know, sometimes to achieve success, we need to trip a few times along the way. Entrepreneurship and the art of doing business often require calculated risk-taking. What drives you to make important decisions and enable you to move forward successfully with a new initiative? This question is for all of you, so I'm going to start with Andrea. Andrea, would you like to comment here?
Sure. I will go back to Denise. What Denise said was great. Fear is there, and the key is to be comfortable with that. Fear will always be there. Risk will always be there. So get away from the comfort zone. That's the main thing. That's the most important thing. And get used to the idea that risks, fear, issues, they're going to be there. Just get used to that and be comfortable with that and just walk it. Just walk through it. Be confident. Go. Be bold. That's something that you don't learn. You have it on you. So just be comfortable with that. It's I read once that happiness is the greatest invisible accessory for women. If we project that image, we're happy, we're confident and bold. I can do it, and I want to do it. Risk is there. It doesn't mean that I'm not scared or that I'm not understanding what the risks are, but I'm gonna face them. I'm gonna get there. I know. So,
Andrea, do you find that fear and risk drive you?
Absolutely. They challenge. I love challenges. So it's like my personal trainer. He said, I'm going to tell you to do 20 repetitions because I know you have to do 15, but I'm going to tell you 20 because I know you're going to throw for 20. Yeah, he knows me. Yeah, these are just challenges, and I guess in my mind, I turn to those risks and fears. I turn them to challenges. Opportunities turn to threaten turn to opportunities. So just put it the other way around and just go through it.
Well, you moved here just over a year ago,
yeah.
So there you go. Big risk, a little fear.
Portuguese speaker, Spanish speaker, and now English speaker.
Perfect, and you do it so well. Thank you, Andrea. Zoe?
Yes. Oh, in terms of, let's see, let me go back to your question. Taking calculated risk. I feel like calculated, I was just so listening to you and thinking about that, Andrea. So, yeah, calculated risk, I feel like taking calculated risks involves making educated risks. And I think education solves a lot of the problems with being comfortable taking a risk. So that's why when I'm providing a lot of education around investing and, entrepreneurship and business strategies and things like that, it enables people to feel more comfortable because they feel more confident. And that to me would be a calculated risk. If you're going to jump out of a building to get to the other side, you're hardly going to be wanting to do it unless you have some idea. Have you been pole vaulting lately? Maybe you feel like you can, make that extra 3 feet, or have you not been doing any of it? So it's an exercise in one way. You'll be more likely to take that risk if the building's on fire, naturally. But, we don't want to have to wait till the building's on fire to take calculated risk. We don't want to be jumping into and modifying our investment portfolio because the market's tanking or the market's shooting up. We don't want to be reacting. We want to be looking at it objectively and taking the risk before we need to. Having education behind it and some knowledge. Knowledge is definitely power.
So, just I want to elaborate. Just can you give us a little example of an educated risk that you took with an initiative?
Okay. Well, in the long term, this is kind of silly, but I wanted to go into financial services. I came from a background of, highly intelligent, genius-level parents who were highly dysfunctional artists. And so they're all in the creative zone. And so I didn't feel like, being in financial services was, a natural fit. So I wanted to get a graduate degree in order to get into financial services before I took the risk of doing it and potentially failing. So I went to the library and I checked out every MBA book and read those before I was willing to take the risk of going to school, because I was a single mom with 2 kids at the time. So when the time came, which was I had bought a house and my partner had suggested that I pay more of the mortgage, I thought, okay, now's the time to go to graduate school so I can progress. So I basically educated myself in the language that I would need to get into graduate school, to get a different job, which I did. I tripled my salary in 2 years with 3 different jobs. But I basically educated myself so I would be able to have conversations that were at the level and with the knowledge behind it so that I could take those risks and achieve the next step. So I think that kind of, I do a lot of reading and a lot of research and a lot of talking to people to try to get information. So informational interviews are another way of doing that. I'm pretty impulsive, so once I get an idea, I start going for it. Or if you have an idea, I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. Let's do it right now. Let me see who I can hook you up with that can help you accomplish your goal.
Right.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, talking to people, obviously, and talking to people even from different professions, broadening your views, broadening your range, it brings up ideas and brings you back to where it's appropriate for you professionally. I know that myself,
right.
Especially in this world of networking at NAPW and all the diversity that's here of the professional women, that it just really propels me and brings me back to my focus. Before I come to you, Natalie, I just want to go back to Andrea and ask her the question, actually. And maybe this is, I know we talked about the risk of moving to the United States, but when she was in Latin America and, you were dealing, obviously, with a different culture there and the challenges around that. So if you would just like to share with us a little bit, maybe some of the risks that you took and the fear around that being in this more conservative culture in Latin America.
There's this story, and it's pretty funny, actually, because that's how I met my husband. So I don't know if it's a educated risk or informative risk, taking thing, but I'm still married after 12 years, so I think it was a pretty good decision. So I moved, for all of you that don't know me, I'm from Argentina. I moved to Brazil when I was 30, and now at 40, I moved to the US. When I moved to Brazil, in Argentina we speak Spanish. In Brazil they speak Portuguese, and I was identified by IBM as the good match for being a project director in a project in Brazil that was involving 15 countries in Latin America, led by Brazil. The project director from a client part was a German. The CEO for the client was from Switzerland. And my husband, American, he was a project senior partner. So it was for me to choose, do you want to take over this role, managing this project? My first reaction was, heck no. And no, I'm not going to do it. Just to add to this situation, I just put that in my mind, and I would be the project director. I'm a woman. I'm from Argentina. You're familiar with soccer, Argentina and Brazil. We hate each other in soccer. So it was like, I'm going to be there. These people are more senior than me in terms of the deep knowledge. I was a project director. Right? There were like seniors in finance, seniors in financial services, seniors in human resources, seniors in procurement. So I was like, I'm not going to be managing these people. They are way over more senior than me. But again, taking risks and being bold and being confident in myself and knowing that was a challenge, I accepted the challenge. Now, how I approached it, and knowing that there was a Argentina-Brazil soccer game in 2 months, I was just humble. And I said, you know what? I'm here to help you. I'm here to be your mentor. I'm here to make it easier for you to do your job. I'm not going to do this job. This job needs financial skills. This job needs human resources skills. This job needs supply chain skills. I'm not going to be executing the job, but I'm clearing your path. So I'm going to be talking to this German crazy guy. I'm going to be the one doing that. I'm going to be dealing with the Swiss guy. I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to facilitate you. So if you have issues, I'm going to do the issue management. If you have risks, I'm going to do the risk management. And that guy was a client partner. That was my husband, and I ended up married an American guy. So I think I'm pretty good at dealing with multicultural, diverse teams. But I think, again, seriously, the thing is when you take a decision in this regard, and I saw some of the comments that there's a lot of information around, there's a lot of knowledge around that you have to take into consideration that you end up lost in the middle of the game. I guess first of all, when we're bold, we need to trust our guts. We need to trust our feelings, and if we have it in there, and I know it's in there, we can identify, and we need to identify what is really knowledge and what is information than what is just data. There's a lot of data out there. We need to identify data from information, and then it will become knowledge if it's relevant for us. So getting all that together, and it's a magic that happens for us, when we're women, so we make it happen when we have to deal with kids and with the kitchen and with our husband playing poker and with the guys out there, and the maid that didn't clean enough. So we know that. We know how to deal with that. We know how to deal with different languages, as Zoe was saying. So we're natural. We're natural risk takers. We're natural multitaskers. We're natural. So we can do it.
Thanks, Andrea. Natalie?
I don't know what to say at this point. You said it all, Andrea.
Well, tell us a story.
Well, the funny thing is that you just mentioned German, so, crazy Germans. My background is German, so I'm crazy. I'm just letting you know off the bat. Well, I think when it comes to educated risk-taking, there's a difference between, as Zoe was pointing out, just jumping in, and I think it's really crucial if you consider being an entrepreneur. I want to put those two things together, because a lot of people will say, I want to be an entrepreneur, and quit their job all of a sudden. I think that's clearly taking a risk, and I would not recommend that, because you do want to be educated in the sense of the fact that it takes 3 to 5 years normally before a small business gets really ahead and actually has revenue coming in that they can do something with. And up until then, you really need to plan for investing. So I think being an entrepreneur, becoming an entrepreneur, is one of the things where you have to take either an educated risk or a calculated risk. Because especially, most of us, apparently, we all have families and children. We don't want them to go hungry. So don't just quit your job. Make an educated guess. And I love the fact that Zoe pointed out the schooling, because in Germany, of course, school doesn't cost quite as much, not to say nothing at all. So, there's a different paradigm. We have to think about the culture that we are in and apply our educated guesses and risk-taking to that. I don't know how many risks I took. I think the easiest would be to go with, leaving my home country and coming here, really not knowing anybody at all. And it was a gut instinct decision, as Andrea put it, because most of my decision making, even though I'm highly analytical, after all, I study history, I'm also very much consistent with what feels right. I think that's the best way to put it. I think most of us have a certain knowing. There are so many opportunities out there, and some of them you'll explore and figure out halfway down the road that they might not be 100% for you. But in the end, I believe for me that there is already an inner knowing, and then it's just a matter of gathering all the information and then making a decision based on that. I also think that it's really crucial that any decision that you make are based on, number one, the understanding that happiness, which I forget whether Zoe or Andrea brought that up, happiness is really crucial, but happiness doesn't come from the outside. So when we're talking about taking risks, when we're talking about, tripping a few times or failure, I don't believe in failure. I don't believe in any of that language because it's misleading. To me, all of the things that didn't work out the way somebody thought they should are experiences of growth. Challenges to me are opportunities for growth. So if I grow along the way, then I cannot call it a mistake or a failure. I've learned from it. I'm going to do something different next time. And of course, the biggest piece that, happiness really resides inside. And so that is something that I think a lot of people don't quite understand. It seems we're mostly in agreement with that. For example, getting personal, since you asked for a story, Louise, when I first met my now husband, one of the things that he says, and I think a lot of people grow up that way, was to say, I just want to make you happy. And I had to blow that thing right out of the sky. I said, I'm sorry, you can't. It's impossible for you to make me happy. And of course, he looked at me like I was the crazy German, of course. But I told him, well, I'm happy inside or I'm not. You can add to my happiness, of course. But other than that, anything that you do should not make me any which way because I have a choice. And I think that's really crucial to understand. The other thing that I think when it comes to risk-taking that I have found here, especially in the DMV area, and Andrea, you're just up the road from Baltimore, Maryland, one thing that I've found is that a lot of people don't take that one little step just to try it out. And a lot of it has to do in this area, I don't know how it's in everybody else's area, with investing. A lot of people around here want to have everything for free. And I don't think, going back to the idea of value, that is really taking a risk. If you're getting something for free, you either show up or you don't show up. So you also need to invest in yourself, whether it's time by reading a lot of books, whether it's going to a seminar or something of that sort. I think that's really crucial. And then the only other thing that just popped into my head is I think very often we miss the signs that we get. So for example, one of the things that I was exploring was a project, something I had done years ago that I wanted to go back to. And I know that I'm going to do it. So I started connecting with one person who could help facilitate that. And it just seems like I don't find the time, they don't answer the email. And at this point, it's like, well, if it's this difficult, I just don't think it's going to work. I know that ultimately I'm going to do the project. That is no question. But I'm apparently not going to do it with this person. And if there are consistently challenges or things that seem to block the path, I think that's what helps me make a decision, where I just go, okay, hold on. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 times it's just been not working, or even if they send the email, I'm not getting it. There's something not 100% perfect for me in this instance. And then I make a decision, intuition or knowing or gut feeling, analysis, and everything else that's happening around it, as well, of course, as talking to friends and mentors. So I hope that clarifies everything that I brought up.
Thank you, Natalie. Wonderful. At this point, though, I am actually going to invite Star to come back on because she has a great question for you guys. And Star, are you there?
I am certainly here. I've been paying such rapt attention and communicating and chatting with all of our members who are so engaged today. But ladies, this is a question that I ask all the time whenever I'm conducting a panel because I find it so insightful. I'm going to give you each a minute. Please tell us all the best piece of advice you ever received as a professional woman and the worst piece of advice.
Wow.
Okay, so Zoe, why don't you start?
Oh gosh, thanks. Well, I think the best piece of advice that was kind of that epiphany that I mentioned before is, don't sell yourself short. Look around and, look at what you bring to the table. So don't sell yourself short. And what's the worst piece of advice? Oh gosh. Well, I never took it.
I love that. That means that was a good one.
I've heard it a few times. Why don't you just get a normal job that you just do the same thing every day? That was like the worst advice. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't feel happy unless I'm creating something.
We wouldn't like you if you were normal.
I know I'm not normal. You don't have to rub it in.
Okay, Natalie, what about you?
Well, I think the best piece of advice was, there were two pieces to it. Number one, trust yourself. And the second one was, you know more than you think you do. And really trusting that those two pieces really came together and made all the difference. Because, you always doubt yourself. And the worst advice was probably something like, just keep studying and keep coming to class. Don't fly.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I'm going to ask Andy to come in, but before I do, I just want to let you all know, please check out the chats. All of our members are doing their best and worst also, and there's some good things up there. So Andy, bring it home for us. What about you, the best and worst piece of advice?
So I'm going to put you just in a little bit of context. In Latin America, my mother was a librarian. My father actually was born in Vietnam, but he studied in Sorbonne in France, and he was an archaeologist. So you can imagine in Latin America, being an archaeologist and a librarian, it doesn't make you necessarily rich or even in a comfortable zone. So I wouldn't say that is the worst piece of advice, but I will never forget my mom telling me, you need to make money. You need to follow a career, and you need to make money, because we don't want you to starve. So we need to make money. And I was like, but I don't want to make money. Actually, I want to follow a humanitarian career. I like arts. I like archaeology. Don't be an archaeologist. Don't you dare. Your father is an archaeologist. Look how we are, because your father is an archaeologist. So I wouldn't say that was the worst piece of advice, but it always comes to my mind when I try to innovate or to do something different. And I just remember that to say, yeah, I'm going to do it, because I don't care. So
I love it.
I wouldn't say that that's the worst piece of advice, but that's what happened to me when I was in my 20s. The best piece of advice is my husband all the time. When we're moving from culture to culture, my daughter is from Argentina, my husband is American, my son is Brazilian. We live now in Jersey. We're kind of lost sometimes. We find out, where are we? We don't have any official language at home. We're like all the time.
It's okay.
It's a Babel Tower. It's crazy.
I love it.
So he always tells me, be yourself.
Fantastic.
It doesn't matter. Because I was like, how do you think Americans are going to take this if I say it this way? Like, this crazy German. And I have nothing against Germans. Please, don't get me wrong. This guy was crazy. But could it be Russian? Doesn't matter. This guy was crazy. So he tells me, be yourself. At the end of the day, you're where you are, and you're bold, and you're confident, and you're straight to the point. Be yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andy. I guess it's tradition. Louise knows when it gets to this point, I always give what my best and worst piece of advice was. My best piece of advice actually came from Oprah Winfrey many years ago, and I saw her last night, and it reminded me yet again. She said, stand in the space God has created for you. And it never left me. So no matter what other people are doing, no matter what other goals and aspirations and dreams are, I always stand in the space that is created for me, because there's a unique space. I always imagine heaven with all of these beautiful auditorium seats, and there's a name plate, a gold one with some sparkles on it that says Star Jones. So I'm not worried about it. I'm standing in my space. And I guess that worst piece of advice, I'll have to tell you, I was a kid in high school, and a guidance counselor told me, Miss Jones, if you'll just learn not to rock the boat, things will come to you. And I promptly went home to my mother, and my mother said, baby, if you ain't in the boat, turn the boat over, okay? That's my piece of advice. And I've been turning the boat over for a very long time. Louise, thank you for hosting today. We have had such a great time, a great engagement. We have had a few chapter members or a few members ask how they can become eligible to present during our eChapter meetings. And so I really wanted to tell you, of course, we have a number of benefits for all levels of membership, such as mentoring, in-person networking, online networking, and group activities that gives all of our members the opportunity to gain visibility. But we're actually thrilled to offer the opportunity to present during our eChapter VIP Showcase as an added benefit for our VIP members. And NAPW VIP membership does include enhanced benefits of additional opportunities for publicity, promotion, and highlighting yourself and your business, as you've seen today. And it's really designed to enhance the members' visibility. That's what we're here. It's about working the network. You can go to napw.com for more information on how to become a VIP member. Louise, you can take us home, because this has been one heck of an afternoon.
Thank you, Star. It has, and thank you for your great question and comments. Well, it's 1 o'clock, ladies, and we don't want to keep you any longer. I just have to say, obviously, a couple of thank yous to our panelists, Zoe Sexton, Natalie Forrest, and Andrea Campanella Henrik, and to our VIP spotlights, Denise Hansard, Ellen Kavam, and Marissa Stone, and also to you, our members, 732 of them who registered for this event today. Thank you. And also to thank Star for leading off our eChapter event and coming on and asking a great question. And Karen Slusser, our National Project Director of Marketing and Communications, for assisting with all things IT today. And of course, the NAPW team as a whole for working so hard to bring our eChapter to life. We will be hosting the eChapter bi-weekly for the next several weeks, following the NAPW Foundation calendar each month, just as our local chapters do. Our next event is on September 24th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It's Hispanic Heritage Month on the NAPW Foundation calendar. We'll be inviting 3 Hispanic NAPW VIP members to discuss leadership and management and how they have navigated themselves to success as the largest minority group in the United States. I thank you all again for joining us today, and if you wish to find out more information about being a VIP member spotlight or VIP presenter, please email me at echapter@napw.com. Thank you again, and NAPW wishes you a very productive and successful day.
Thank you so much, Louise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody, amazing.